and begin. Yay, we're back.
Back for more.
All right, Podcast Land and American Hammers TV. We are the Columbus E13. Come on, you irons. We have a special guest with us tonight. Well, first of all, we took a week off last week because, well, I was too fucking busy. Marc wasn't here, and Dean, we did such a great show with Dean.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what happened with Arsenal, and then I'm getting ready to go on a trip, so I just had too much crap to do. I'm so sorry.
Well, and we won't have more shows. This might be our last show for the rest of this month.
This is actually going to be, well, I might try to do a remote.
Ooh.
I do have the StreamYard. I do have it, so I might hit you up one night.
Yeah?
We'll see what
All
happens.
right, TBD.
I don't want to leave it dry. It would be across the pond remote.
Ooh. Really testing our
That's
technical
right.
knowledge.
That's right. Won't have all these lovely pieces of junk in front of us, but it might be a much cleaner look. We'll see.
We'll find out.
Anyway, we do have, like I said, a very special guest. I'm probably going to murder his last name, but I'm going to give it a good try, and I have practiced it. Everybody, this is Chris Hrytzik.
Close.
Am I
Hrytzik.
Hrytzik.
Yeah. And no one can ever pronounce it. I've always had to deal with that my entire life. No
Chris-
one can spell it either.
Anything with a H and a Z, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Chris, welcome. And
Thank you for having me.
Chris is one of our original guys. Actually, he's been coming to see the games with the E13 more than a year. It's been
About
like a
18
year and
months.
a half.
Yeah. I think the first match I came out for was actually unfortunately the Liverpool game, season opener last season. So not the greatest way to be introduced to introduced to the scene.
That's
nor
most
Man
games.
City this year though. So.
And you were at. By the way, if anybody needs more headphones, like Chris, this is you. You're probably blasting. Okay. This is me. Oh, that's much nicer. Now I can hear. You are at our games sporadically,
yes.
at our watch party sporadically, because you're from Marysville. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'm from about 30 minutes from here, here in Columbus, smaller town, Marysville, Ohio. I started coming to the watch parties when I was a senior in college at Ohio University. So, kind of a bit of a drive. And as much as I love you guys, not worth the 2-hour drive just for a morning watch party. I don't.
What, from Athens?
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially when the hangover from Friday night kicks in. So.
Ooh, yeah. Well, they do like to tie him on in Athens.
Yes,
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, we do.
Nothing else to do.
But currently now I'm actually up in Erie, Pennsylvania, so even farther, about 4 hours away from here. So
Excuses.
I do want to get home more often, but it's still a bit of a drive.
That's okay. I was just confused one day when I was looking up. I was actually looking for a picture of you on AHTV because he's been on American Hammers TV on a number of different shows, and then at one point Tim said that you were from Pennsylvania, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know he's from Ohio.
Every time I always get introduced by either Lee or one of them, everyone always thinks that I'm from Pennsylvania originally.
Well, that's just because you live there now, right?
Yeah. So and since I'm on so sporadically, I mean, it's hard to get a sense exactly where it is. And now, like we're going to talk about here in a little bit, the podcast that we're starting up, suddenly I'm in a different environment, different state, even.
Right.
So it might throw people even more for a loop now.
Well, like you said, you are starting your own podcast, and I think you say that you just recorded your first episode?
Yes.
Ooh.
So I will preface it by saying I'm not the creative lead. So I'm just one of the co-hosts or one of the co-guys.
Gotcha.
It can't happen without you.
I appreciate that, but the creative control of it is Zach Wolpuff of DC, curly-headed legend.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And John Perroy from Philly. So I had never actually met John before then. I had done one show with Zach beforehand.
Okay.
And he's an awesome guy. So we're just trying to get a sense for each other. We recorded Monday night. I believe Tim has the audio file now, and I think since he's on vacation, it's going to be a little bit before it gets edited and put up. So I don't know exactly when
he's in Disney.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but I'm sure they'll plaster it all over social media when it does. So.
From what I understand, he's not really taking time off. I've seen lots of posts from him on Facebook.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh yeah,
on his Snapchat, he's got plenty of time to be out in parking lots.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it could already be cut, and just I don't know it yet. So
right.
So what's it called?
It is called Fortune's Always Hiding.
Cool.
Great name.
Yeah, we were originally thinking of This Team Is Killing Me. So
West Ham is Why We Drink has cornered the.
I mean, both of them are pretty good.
Market.
Yeah.
So
but
what
we needed to make sure it had a West Ham theme, so that way it's at least everyone knows. Like, This Team Is Killing Me. That could suffice for a lot of teams and a lot of sports.
It certainly could. A lot of teams that we know very well here in Ohio.
Hey, I'm not one of those fans. So
yeah, just throwing off the whole "you're from Pennsylvania" conceit, right?
What's that?
Because you're a Steelers fan.
Yeah. So that's
more credence.
I forgot that.
Yeah,
I knew that, but I forgot it.
Yeah, growing up with that, I was always called a bandwagoner.
Well,
but my dad is from Pittsburgh.
If the rings fit.
Yeah, there you go. But my dad and his entire family are originally from Pittsburgh, so I was raised in the black and gold. When I was in third grade, it was Super Bowl 40, and my dad put a poster of Ben Roethlisberger up on my wall from Sports Illustrated for kids.
Big Ben.
Yes.
You know where Ben's from?
Findlay.
Lima.
Oh, he's from.
I think that I think Ben is from Lima.
I'm fairly certain he's from Findlay.
Okay, let's get the wiki on that.
Oh,
Either way,
anyway.
Lima and Findlay are like 5 minutes apart from each other.
That's very true.
That's an Ohio boy.
Yep.
And that means he does bad things in strip clubs and on motorcycles.
He is born in Lima.
Went
to high school in Findlay.
Oh.
So everybody gets a gold star.
Both right.
So, Fortune's Always Hiding. Like you said, this is the first episode. What's your deal? What are you guys trying to do?
So that is something we're still gonna try and figure out a little bit. The first episode was kind of just a recap of Southampton, Pellegrini.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get quite into it, but we were gonna go into January transfer, like what we need and everything. Yeah. Well, it's too soon, but it's right around the corner.
It's never too soon. Yeah, I guess.
It's kind of like politics. It's never ending.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm not sure how many times you've actually listened to what we do, even though we will talk about all those same things that you talked about. What this podcast mostly is about us and about our group. Now, at the same time, I always think it's hilarious that anybody would think that everybody's got an opinion, right? And we have opinions, and we're proud of our opinions. But we're not Marc and I, at least, we don't claim to be soccer experts.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
No, God, no. I'm not.
So if all of a sudden we get deep into the tactics of the fact that we did a 4-4-2 this past week, I'm going to be a little lost, and I'm going to be, like, what?
Yeah. Oh, I'm very much the same. So
I mean, I know what a 4-4-2 is, and did it work having two up front? Yes, but. Do I know shit from Shinola about it? I kind of
no.
Not really. So the reason that we started it and the thing that we wanted to do that was going to be different from most others is the fact that not just about like we're so cool and this is about us, but there are so many supporters groups. This is something that really dawned on me when I started hanging online with Tim from American Hammers.
Yeah.
There's just so many supporters groups, and I met so many people. I'm making air quotes that not everybody can see online. That I was just like, wow, I'm not the only person busting my ass to make sure somebody can watch the games together. So like, it was kind of like, in a way, trying to be inspirational for other people that
absolutely.
might want to
Absolutely,
get up in the morning and set up projectors and bubble machines
Yeah.
and do whatever else, get people together because, like everything else, we could always just sit on our couch and watch the games, but it's so much more fun to sit in the pub and drink with everybody.
You drink and eat, yeah.
Right.
It always makes it that much better.
And it's even better when you win a game.
Yeah, thank
Yay!
God.
Coming off of this.
Let's go.
In fact, you'll notice this about me. I got jokes.
You got what?
I got jokes.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love the soundboard.
I mean, it's I was so and I get typecast as the pessimist a lot, don't I?
Well, I don't know about a typecasting, but I would give you a solid casting. But I mean, that's one of the things that I love.
Fairness, I Tuesday or Wednesday of so about a week ago now, I texted Eric, another fellow who will soon be on this show.
Hopefully, get him on here quickly.
I mean, I was like, man, just think about it. Next fall, like take up yoga. I go drink a latte on Saturday mornings. I sure as fuck I'm not going to watch West Ham play Preston North End.
Well, let me
it's nice to see that flush away.
For the record,
for the moment at least.
For the record, so when we were worried about West Ham going down, the last time they were going to go down, I was sitting there.
So long ago.
Right.
2017.
Right. I was talking to
Moisey.
Matt Ellis, who we've had on the show, who's from the UK, and he was just like, if West Ham goes down, they don't go. It's not like they die or go away. Obviously, that's true. Several of the games that I've got to see live, I don't even think they were in the PL at the time. I wasn't paying enough attention to know. I was just soaking up the Upton Park atmosphere.
Oh, that's very fair. Yeah.
That's really all that mattered to me. But I have made, just to let you know, I have made sure that if we go down, I'm not trying to put a hex on us, but
don't speak that into
now
reality.
Or
Please.
in the future, if we go down, I am going to make it my life mission to make it so that we can still watch the games on Saturday, even in the championship. Or, well, if it goes lower than that, it's probably going to have a real hard time, like getting a working version of Sports Devil. But
I found some guy with an iPhone at a League One match. He'll Chromecast it to me.
We could do that.
I know the depths that you will go to. I
don't
do
doubt
not
that.
question it.
I don't doubt that at all.
I mean, I love the team. Who knows? Like after, go ahead.
Oh, because this is obviously top of mind at around 12:15 local time. So 15 minutes before kickoff.
Right.
We had some special guests. We had our English friend,
Gary.
Super guy.
My parents, Bob and Nance, have shown up for
Bob and Nance were waiting for you when they got
time.
There. Well, it was your birthday. Oh, I forgot. We just got past your birthday.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
It's a couple weeks ago.
It was the second?
It was the second, yeah.
Oh,
nice.
Well, happy birthday. Yeah, didn't even know that.
Happy birthday.
Really belated birthday.
Oh, good. But, they make their sporadic appearances once or twice a year. He's like, my dad's like, what are you going to do if they're in the championship? I'm like, well, I did just cancel my ESPN Plus subscription. I imagine they could be somewhat of a draw.
I've still got one.
On EFL, on, like their game of the week, like we're in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, otherwise, I don't know. Listen on the radio.
Yeah.
I keep hearing that ESPN Plus actually carries all of the championship games. Is that not true?
No. They'll, because it's the, like Sky Sports will do the 7:30 game, a 10 o'clock game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Some like weekday games,
right.
But it's the same as the EPL or as the EPL over there, where it's just like the one TV game in that time slot,
right?
But they don't have like other teams for international rights because there's not enough demand for it.
Okay.
Even though I love the I love following the league. I like reading like those updates and how those teams. I don't know if we could survive in the championship.
It's super exciting football.
Yeah.
There's a lot more actual English players in the championship.
Right. It feels like what we missed out on. It also feels like what I wish MLS could be.
Yes.
But that's
totally
a different
agree
story.
with you on that one.
Oh
man.
yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. But
we don't need to worry about that right now.
Not in the relegation zone
let's
at Christmas.
stop talking this into existence.
Yeah.
Like,
although
we're only a little bit more than. Are we between a third and a halfway through the season?
I can check.
Oh, we're halfway to 40 points. Although I was reading this,
the fact that that's a victory is kind of sad.
Well, and then let's throw water on that. I was looking at this while I was getting my car fixed right before coming over here. West Ham have lost more Premier League games this decade than any other team,
and we've been down this decade.
I mean, that counts one season in the championship.
The statistic is we've lost more Premier League games than any other team in the Premier League.
Like any Premier League team. You figure we've been in the Premier League.
Current Premier League teams or teams that have
any
been in the Premier League?
Any Premier League team between 2010 and 2019.
Oh, wow.
I mean, granted, we were in there for 9 of those 10 seasons.
Right.
We had a lot of opportunities to fuck up.
And we were always, at least few of the seasons that I've been a supporter, we've always been battling relegation.
I mean, half the time we're in a relegation scrap. This is
to answer your question, by the way, we are... once 2 more matches are played, we're halfway through the season.
Okay, so we're almost halfway through.
So, Leicester.
Right.
All right.
The game that I'm going to get to see live.
Hey.
I am jealous.
I'm pretty... Well, and you know what? You can get further jealous because guess what Marc got for a birthday present?
Oh, boy.
An undisclosed yet picked trip to a West Ham game.
That's amazing.
His parents said they'd send him over. Should I
have
not let that out of the bag?
Oh, no.
Marc's giving me a weird look.
Oh, no. All welcome to join.
Yeah. I get kind of questioned by with me being so young and potentially going by myself, my parents definitely questioned if they'd even support me going over there. Like, West Ham or not.
How old are you?
I am only 22. I turned 23 in July.
Oh, I mean, it sounds making me look old.
Sounds like you're an adult to me.
But my dad being I wouldn't say
is he a hover parent?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit of a helicopter.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep this as politically correct in case in case he ends up watching it somehow.
He's worried.
My dad does not support soccer at all. He could care less when I'm talking about it. So I highly doubt that he'll watch this, but I wanted just in case.
Well, you never know. What's his number again? So I can text him. So when you go, because I know you're gonna go.
Eventually.
Dude, once you get it in the blood, you end up having to go.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to go at some point. I'm almost, with me being in grad school, I might ask for a grad present going over. Yeah. That'd be my dream wish. I was hoping to potentially go over spring break because I think they're trying to plan a mass American trip over there, and it falls perfectly in line with that.
Who's they?
Tim and American Hammers.
Okay, here's the one thing, and I didn't know that. Here's the one thing to be aware of because I have gone at that time of year too. Yeah. So, if any team in the PL is doing well in the FA Cup, it starts to wreak havoc.
That's why I have not bought a plane ticket.
Exactly.
In the scheduling. So, I've told the story on here before, but the last year at the Bullion, my wife and I went over to see one last game at the Bullion. We've seen a couple games there, and it was supposed to be on March 12th against Watford, and West Ham was doing well in the FA Cup. And
they were doing well in general, too.
Right, and that game got rescheduled, and we got fucked over. So we had to sell those tickets back. Now, on that same trip, we did get to see Chelsea away the following weekend, which was unreal.
And that's the thing, too, with me. With my scheduling or with my spring break, the only match that I'd be legitimately able to go to is not Watford away. It's Arsenal away. So I'd still be in London, but I wouldn't get to experience the London Stadium.
Well, you're 22, right? Yeah. Okay, your credit score is probably north of 700. I'm going to take a fancy guess.
You're gonna.
As
much as I'm an adult, I don't know that actually.
I was like, you probably don't know.
This is what
you
credit
probably know
cards
you're
are for.
broke. I was in grad school too.
Yeah.
This is what it doesn't matter if you have $1, if you have a freaking credit card. I mean,
That's
you got to
very
pay
true.
it back later, but
Well,
like,
I don't have actually even have. A
it
credit
doesn't
card
have
at the
to
moment.
happen this year. Of course,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go and you're gonna go even next year, all I'm saying is, and I told Marc this the other day too, because he's probably going, "Oh my God, I wish you wouldn't try this." But when I found out that Marc was going to get a trip to go, I was like, "Let me know when you're going to go, and I will drop everything to go with you."
Oh, it will be. I mean, I imagine it will be a quick, very swift decision. Like we'll probably see a schedule come out.
Yeah.
And I'll
Right.
be like,
Well,
'cause,
that's
go
what
in
credit
August,
cards are for.
Go in September.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Go
games don't get
early.
rescheduled then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If I can save up some money for sure.
Just start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. There
then,
you go.
We'll see you there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I could easily save the money. It's just a matter of figuring out when and how much to budget and everything like that. So, plus with spring break now, I think I'm coming home actually to help.
You're going to help build houses
Yeah.
with Habitat for Humanity.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I think I'm going to come back and help some political campaigns because that's the thing I like. That's my
Okay, let's not get into that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just saying that's what I'm doing over spring break.
Let's not.
What's Sam? It's a real UKIP party, right? Fuck. Do we think this saved Pellegrini's job?
What the win at Southampton? Oh yeah, I guess we should probably turn back to that,
Yeah.
actually. The win. Let's talk about first whether or not it saved Pellegrini's job. I don't think it did,
No.
and I'm really kind of hoping it did not.
I know we were talking about that at the pub on Saturday. One of the points that I made on the podcast that we recorded on Monday was that the issue with coming out. First of all, stuff like this coming out in the media, like, if he loses this job or this game, he's done. He's going to throw everything he can at it, and so it doesn't make it a legitimate kind of test. Plus, I don't like how much comes out, like how much transparency there is in the club.
Oh, there's always been that culture of leaks.
There's
we
always
thought
right.
it was under control last year,
and like other stuff comes out like later.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying,
Yeah.
like,
But-
because he's throwing everything at it.
Yes.
So what we got to see at Southampton is not probably
Yeah.
what he would
'Cause-
do the next game.
So with it, two things. With regards to that, I think we were talking about how is the two up top decision was that him like, okay, like maybe like I have been wrong. Let's try something different. No, I think it's, well, I have one chance to save my job. I'm going to throw something at the wall. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
I mean, it just as much could have been Felipe Anderson.
Yeah,
got
exactly.
sick last minute. It's like, well, okay,
But
we'll do this.
The
Right.
bigger thing with Pellegrini's job, is it safe because he won? Like, if that's the case, does he have one match? Does he have 5 matches? Is he good for the rest of the season? It's hard to tell. And if you're at the end, if the club is really at the end of its rope like that, how can you rebuild all this trust because of one game?
You can't.
If you're at the end of the rope, just cut it.
You can't.
Just cut it. You can't.
Yeah.
There's no hope of repairing that damage.
Right.
So start fresh.
But a lot of people have been saying that if there was going to be a switch. Now, first of all, I do believe in my heart of hearts, if they couldn't have pulled it out at Southampton, that he'd already be gone. Now,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
everybody was saying it. You know that the board, they don't want to get rid of him. They don't want to because, first of all, they're going to have a huge payout to pay him off, and then probably another huge payout to be able to get anybody else that's
See
anywhere
that,
close to being
and that's
worthy.
the thing. I had seen some like almost like conspiracy theories on Twitter that the reason that they gave to the Southampton game was because they know that he was going to be able to beat, or they figured that he should be able to beat them. If not, then
Well, he should have.
Yeah, then
Right.
he should be gone. But if he beats them like they should, he's saved because now we don't have to pay all this money. Because if they really do have to fire him, they have to pay him all that money.
Right.
And all it means is they're going to bring in a cheap option for the rest of the season.
Yeah, because that's who's available.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything that we heard over the last month, it was all more interesting than what was probably the position, which is this is a club that honors contracts. This
Yeah.
is a club that will just, they'll be cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll be cheap when it really counts.
I mean, you look at this week. Everton just appointed Ancelotti within a week of him
official?
getting fired. Yes.
Okay.
Sky Sports has reported it.
I read earlier today
Because
I read
different
probably
thing.
happened before today, but
I think,
like,
and he's only going on £3.5 million a year, which is cheaper than Pellegrini.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying it's going to happen because I don't think it will. You have Pochettino out there. You have Kovac. You have all of these big name managers, but because we're stalling, they're going to get bought up, and we're going to be left with Chris Hughton or David Moyes.
Yeah.
And they're buying time until, we don't have any more options. We have to go with the cheap one.
Well, you also just throw every single name at the wall, and
that's the West Ham
/
that's the West Ham and media. Every summer we're linked with every player ever.
Yeah,
that's
true.
I mean, that's true. We are linked with everybody under the sun, and then 1/10 of it comes true.
The name that I'm seeing a lot right now. I haven't watched X's podcast or listened to his podcast yet, so I don't know if he talks about it or addresses it all. The new rumor is that we're going to swoop in for a loan from Real Madrid, Jovic,
right?
Aller's former partner,
right?
Because we need more attacking players right now.
Yeah, we do need some form of a striker, and that one kind of makes sense. A cheap loan option, which fits the board's kind of model, and then it also makes sense because that was Aller's partner last season, where they had tremendous success.
Both of those things make sense,
but it's West Ham, so it won't happen.
Antonio has now, basically, at least it looks like, maybe come into his own into a striker position from a winger position.
Yeah.
A la he who shall not be named in Shanghai. But I mean, is that going to stick? See, my thing with Antonio is I absolutely love him.
I do too.
I think that he has the heart of an absolute fucking lion, and he is never going to give less than 120%. But because of that,
he's always injury prone.
Yeah, he's gonna hurt himself.
Already 30.
You know what I'm saying?
There's 3 players in that team who will give. I'd actually go as far as even 4, maybe 5, who will give everything for the club because not just because it's their job, but they are West Ham, and that's Antonio, Snodgrass, Noble, and I'd say Fabianski, and David Martin.
Absolutely.
Cresswell's on borderline.
Okay.
But those players will always give 110%, not just because I love the game, I love the job, I love this job, I want to succeed, but because I have to do this for the fans and because they embody the spirit of West Ham.
And you know what's funny? All the guys that you just mentioned, they're all from the UK.
Yep. Well, Fabianski's Polish.
That's right. I forgot that you mentioned Fabianski. I was thinking the others, but I'm not sure if you watched the Friday Night Lights that happened last Wednesday that I was on with Ian Bishop.
I have
Marc,
not
did you
been
watch
able
that?
to yet.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Well, it was a 2-hour super special.
Let me tell you something. Anybody out there that hears our show that gives 2 shits about this club, I cannot tell you enough that you need to listen to Ian Bishop. By the end of the show, I realized that Friday Night Lights is supposed to be like a game show. You've been on that.
Yeah, I was actually on the inaugural episode of that.
And by the end of it, I didn't care about my answers. I just wanted to hear him. What do you got to say?
Oh no. I mean, I'll watch it eventually. Once I carve out 2 hours for myself.
Yeah, exactly.
But you said
Noble, you can actually skip the first like 30 minutes. He was trying to use a phone with StreamYard and he couldn't hear us at first. So after we got through the technical difficulties and he got his laptop working and you could actually hear everything he had to say, like the rest of us were just like, it was me and Lee, and we were just like mesmerized by his answers and everything he said. And the reason that I was bringing it up at all before you read off that list again is because so we were asking things like or like some of the questions John was asking had to do with like the like who's responsible for motivating the players.
Yes.
Okay. And my answer was trite and stupid. I think I said the manager. It starts and
starts
and ends with
Yeah,
them.
the buck stops with the manager.
Right. Well, that was my answer, and I can't even remember if I got a like or not. But you know what? I'm dead fucking wrong, because what it comes from is the intrinsic quality of every player.
Yeah.
So Ian started spouting off about players with no heart, and before he came back from his technical difficulties, when Lee and I were trying to answer questions just when it was just the two of us, one of the questions has to do with whether or not money has ruined the game, and whether or not certain Europeans being such a large part of our game has ruined the game. And when he came back on, we asked him about that, and he was just like, absolutely, nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean? Everybody's in it for a payday. It's not that they don't give a shit enough to show you that they're worth the money that they're being paid. But the important thing for this club, and probably when you think about it, any club, and I mean anywhere, not just in the PL, is the way that he put it down is that the West Ham fans will back you
if you give
200%. Every single game, no matter what. And he told this story, and you could tell it was it was an emotional story for him. He said, I think it was the 90 FA Cup. Might have, I could be totally wrong about what it was, but I know it was at Villa, and West Ham was down 4-0, and the crowd, the Claret and Blue Army, was cheering him on to no end, just going. And you know what? The crowd knew that the team had given every ounce that they had, and the crowd was just behind him. And he said, you always wonder about whether or not the players hear the people in the stands. I always wonder whether or not they're hearing us at the Columbus Crew or whatever. They hear you, especially when they're really going after it like that. And he told us, he goes, every single player out there heard it, and it was just unbelievable. At down 4 goals, and the fans never gave up on him. Yeah, and it was a very emotional moment. You could see he was getting a little welled up about it right then. It was unbelievable. Right, unbelievable. And I was just like, you know what? That's what it's really all about. You know what I mean? If West Ham has a great season, if West Ham has a shit season, I really don't care. I do care, but as long as the players are given 110%, and it's easy to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if they are or not.
So who are those players that you mentioned? So you got Antonio, Noble,
Snodgrass, Lucas Fabianski, David Martin, and then borderline Cresswell.
So
what about Rice?
So
that is true.
Because
I forgot about Rice.
In light of people who came out of the academy or have long-standing associations, in light of nationality, in light of money, and some of these other factors of are they killing modern football? Another fun thing I did while sitting in a waiting room this afternoon, West Ham put out a poll for who is your top West Ham player of the 2010s.
Of the decade, yeah. I think I saw that. I didn't take the poll.
So what? Noble, Antonio, Rice, Cresswell, and Fabianski are all on there. Snodgrass is not on there. But
I'm
also
surprised
rounding
by that.
this out, Scott Parker, Dimitri
Payet. Oh.
They've been on a bit of a love fest with him as of late.
Yeah.
The nostalgia for him is running high.
I think what they're trying to do is trying to bring back the nostalgic of the few seasons ago.
Remember the last good season we had?
Hey, forget that we're doing bad this season. Let's remember this.
They even started off as okay, so he left and he's not going to win any popularity contest, but he was quite the impact player when he came.
Who else is on?
Kevin Nolan.
Okay.
English.
Ginge.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Ginge.
He got screwed over by the board on that.
Yeah, and you know what? He holds no ill will, and he's still a West Ham fan, and West Ham till he dies.
I'd love to see him in a coaching.
What about Cole?
No. Well, because Cole's more than 90s.
That's true.
I wasn't talking about Joe Cole.
Carlton.
I was talking Carlton Cole. When did he play?
06.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the beginning of the 2000s.
He would have been gone by 2014.
Right.
And so was Scott Parker.
Right.
But a captain. And rounding out this list, I think this is the surprise pick. Well, not so much, but Winston Reed, just because you forget about him.
I haven't forgotten about Winston Reed.
I mean,
I do wonder where he's at because he's supposedly fully fit.
He played the entire decade, played 222 matches.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't think he played that many times.
The last guy to score at the Bullion.
Oh, that match. Oh.
And just, a missing man for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He will not.
He's literally been a ghost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's back with 23s. I mean, he will probably go the way of Ginge.
I could see him playing, like, if he is fully fit, I could see him being one of those rotation players for the FA Cup. I could see him playing against one of the lower league sides against the FA Cup to test his.
Well, I mean, his spot is on the back line.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, he's center back.
So, here we go. Here we go with Kev and the professional soccer tactics. I read something today about the possibility of Balbuena leaving the team because somebody
I did see that.
was thinking about moving along. I don't know if it's him or his agent.
Well,
was it for Inter?
Nobody.
Was it for Milan? I can't remember.
AC Milan. I think what it was is more than I think I read, if I remember correctly from the article, that it's more than likely his agent was talking to Milan about a different one of his clients.
Sure.
Maybe not Balbuena, but of course it's
all those agent talk.
Yeah, it's the media constantly like bringing West Ham's name. Like, is this player going? Is it? The media is such a love fest with love-hate relationship with West Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, every player gets linked with us because of the media, and every
you've got to be talking about mostly the UK media.
Yeah,
right.
And every publication also links West Ham players leaving at the same time. They can be in for 5 days.
Isn't
it
funny how the team is like kind of like all like the UK media is like basically guilty pleasure like punching bag?
Oh yeah,
it
makes no sense.
Yeah, no, I have yet to come across a media outlet there that's like, we like West Ham.
They get in everybody's go.
Other than Football London, whose job is just to cover these 5 teams.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, you need that audience.
Right.
And they're like, at least
they're
neutral.
the one to kick around.
Yeah.
Let's start some shit and make up some fake news about, okay.
And let's just watch their
fan
base like disintegrate.
Right.
On Twitter.
But we've talked about the fan base on here before. What's that role, and is it a good role?
Yeah, that's very true.
I think that can go on.
You know what? For 5 teams, or there's obviously a lot more teams than that in London, but for the 5 teams that everybody knows in the PL right now, the West Ham fans, from what I've seen, like easily the most hyped fan base. These guys live and die this team.
I mean?
When I was at that Chelsea game at the Bridge, 4,000 people, and it was in that upper stand. It was like I've never sang so hard and I've never yelled so hard, and it ended up a 2-2 draw. I can't remember who scored in what order. I know Carroll scored that day, but the Chelsea fans were like dead silent the whole time. It was like, I don't know if they just kind of like went into the game.
That was a down year for them.
Was it?
They finished 10th that season.
You're right.
That was
the
Jose
season
got
where,
the sack.
And
Gus
he
Hiddink, I mean, they had nothing to cheer about at that time.
Wow.
That was a game West Ham should have won. So,
right.
Come on.
They were awful quiet. I got to tell you, at the Bridge, they were real quiet.
I don't doubt that at all.
And you know what? Even if you're losing, that's not when you should be quiet. Right. Anyway, so did we even answer the question whether or not we think that Pellegrini's been saved by this?
No.
No, he's not. I still think he deserves a sack.
I think so too.
Two match wins in 2.5 months.
Did you read the thing about after the Chelsea win, and it didn't come out until like a week or 2
Yeah,
later.
It was his first assistant
his assistant came up with the whole tactic because they made a big deal about the tactics and post game interviews, and Antonio said that they knew they'd like to come up the middle, so they had a whole game plan to shut that down.
I will say this too. I saw a tweet from X about that. People were asking because apparently there were reports that more reports.
Yep.
That the players were wanting that first assistant to be the head coach or the head manager when Pellegrini got the sack.
Uh-huh.
But X had said that he had devised the tactics for other matches where we got crushed. So he might have just hit gold once.
And he talks about it on his podcast as well. I know you haven't listened to yet, but not without spoiling too much. He's like,
I'm sure I'll get the gist on Twitter in a bit anyway.
Like you're supposed to have a good staff, and if he devised winning tactics for this game, then good. He should keep doing that.
That's what he should be doing.
Staff.
Right.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that it's a possibility the guy just got lucky.
Yeah, I think he hit gold once.
But at the same time, he went with a completely different game plan. So, okay, so what's the role of the manager there? Is he not really like picking what's going on, or
that's the thing. I don't know.
Come up with like a hive mind.
And also, going back to the guy real quick, the other thing that helped massively for us in our tactics, Conte wasn't in there, Willian wasn't in there, so we didn't have to worry about two of their best players right there. So that made it hell of a lot easier.
Right.
So I mean. Again, it could just have been lucky. If Willian was in there, they might have gone down the wings when they're planning on going down the middle.
Right.
So,
and supposedly he had a role in this week's tactics as well. I mean, we can't define that, but it's an entire staff.
Yeah.
But you also know that they're gonna have to change it up for Palace.
Yeah.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. And I mean, against Southampton too. It's as much as I don't want to talk crap about other teams, like because of where we are, they've allowed the most goals in the Premier League. If you look it up, they have the most goals allowed. Yeah. So I mean, it's not that hard to game plan against them, and to win only 1-0 is kind of
a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, granted the penalty should have been given. Antonio's goal.
You mean that no penalty when Haller
the two penalty? That's what we talked about on the podcast.
Haller and
what
Antonio
happens if two players are fouled at the exact same time?
Right.
In the box?
So, I don't agree with
fucked up.
the fan base on everything, but we are definitely aggrieved when it comes to reffing.
Yes.
And VAR.
Oh yeah. I think we are the team that is
we're the
easily
least protected team.
Screwed.
Yes.
I think we are the most screwed over team in the Premier League.
What is that? That's just not cool.
No.
Is
it a punching bag for all these?
Right,
because
it's just like the media.
It might just be because like since we're a London-based team, we're one of the bottom of the London teams, so they're just like, we don't need them, kind of thing. So almost like
we're a big club now.
Let them go down, and we'll
supposedly
bring like QPR up if we need another London team, right?
Another punching bag,
right?
Because I guarantee you, any other London, and I think that has a lot to do with it being in the capital. If QPR were to come up and switch our places with us, I could easily see the media like linking everyone with QPR.
Sure.
So I think that
it would be the next like sweetheart punching bag.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Until they go down and they don't have another one.
I have no idea where QPR is. QPR even in the championship?
Jordan Hugel's scoring some goals for them.
I always forget about Jordan Hugel.
Yeah, we all do.
He's another forgotten man. He wanted
to play for West Ham so badly.
Yeah,
he was so happy to get that.
Actually, there was a photo of him on social media today. He was trolling Declan Rice at the World Darts Championship.
What?
I forget.
He said worst haircut in football. He had in 21 matches, Hugel has 8 goals, 0 assists, and 6 yellow cards.
I mean, Dion is taking all the attention.
Has there been any word on his injury?
Don't know. Didn't even look.
Grady?
Yeah.
He's been lighting it up.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, too. I'm happy for Slav. He deserved it. He deserves it and much more. Like, he got screwed over by the owners, and he was kind of cast out when
But at the same time, I agree with you there. But at the same time, when Slav got the axe, he had kind of like this like listless kind of demeanor about him. I think like there was no fight in him.
I think that fight left when Payet left. I think he
I think so too.
I disagree. Because
he looked like a broken man in that.
He managed to keep the locker room together after.
I think he managed to do that with duct tape.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think and I'm no fan of David Sullivan because and especially with this situation, he gave an interview later. He was like, "Oh, I should have sacked. Like my son said, I should have sacked him after the season." Like, first of all, fuck you, Jack.
Shut up.
You're
right.
And now Jack's coming into a technical role to replace Eucilius. Again, another cheap replacement.
Yeah, but I've also heard that that's
because he's
bullshit.
such a good reality
I could see
TV
that too.
Star. Yeah. But yeah, they should have. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he needed to leave for his own sanity.
Yeah, I think so.
He wasn't going to do it.
I'm glad he went away, took a little bit of time, like had a relatively easier, more comfortable job in Saudi Arabia. It was Saudi
Arabia for like 3 months.
Yeah, came back and now he's just lighting up the championship. They haven't lost yet.
He was great. He was great as a television announcer.
Oh
too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He's a great pundit.
He was super
Euro,
good.
World Cup. Yeah, he's great.
I remember seeing a video of him the day that he was sacked. Somebody had like interviewed him leaving Rush Green after basically cleaning out his locker. It might have been either that day or a couple days after, and he just seemed like meek. You know what I mean?
He was defeated.
Kind of defeated. That's the word I'm looking for. And I was just like.
I think he really wanted to make it work.
For him.
I thought he really wanted to make it work.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I think he just couldn't handle it any longer. I think he just had lost the motivation. I think he had lost all confidence in himself to lead, and I think it was best for him too, because then he went. Now look what he's doing. Kind
of begs the question though, like. Is there really problems with the management of the club that's so bad that like no matter who's in that role that we're inevitably going to reach this point?
Yes.
With the board that we have,
everybody's like yes. Okay, so look at it this way. So you guys board yes. Okay.
No, what I'm saying is the way I'm saying it is the problem with the managerial position. They're always thrown under the bus immediately by the board. They're never helped. So any manager who's wanting to come is going to have to deal with like almost like a pariah of a board who don't really help. The only reason they spent all the money that they did was because they were facing basically mutiny by the fans. So I think a lot of managers are going to have second doubts because they know the reputation of this board.
Yeah. No. I think in the last couple of months have really brought this to light.
Yes, very much so.
That this is the way that they've been doing things. I mean, clearly it doesn't work that well.
No.
And you have to figure at some point you could be like they could be in another relegation scrap.
I could see another Burnley protest happening.
Oh,
I could easily see that happening in the next few weeks. Like if it keeps going like this. I mean, they were banning purses and bags from the last home match because they didn't want people bringing in banners and signs. Like they don't want that coverage again.
Club kind of
Anthony Precourt.
They don't want that coverage again because it'll force them to spend money or do something about it.
Come on, they're not Anthony Precourt.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, they're not the only thing. I think the only difference between them is wanting to move the club. I think that's the only difference.
One succeeded.
Yeah. Well, kind of succeeded. Anyway,
so we're in good spirits following this win.
Obviously,
how are we feeling about Palace?
Iffy.
I would feel better if Zaha suffered an injury in training,
especially since he's going to be going up against Zabaleta.
Yeah.
Are you worried? You're worried about Zaba?
Zaba, like if he was playing every week and he still had the pace, I wouldn't be worried. But
so you're worried about the pace?
Yes,
everyone's worried about the pace.
Are you worried about his muscles? Zaba's an ass kicker, dude.
Well, it's not even so much that
really
he's a flopper. He dives and just tries to bitch and moan until he gets his way.
You're talking about
Zaha.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
And with someone as slow as Zabaleta is, he's just going to get in his way a little bit. He's not going to be tracking, and he's going to be constantly.
Oh yeah, he's going to be exposed.
Yes,
like
that entire left
don't have a plan for that.
If you really want to go help him, we might need to go 3 at the back and have a center back almost designated to cover that.
Oh yeah,
flank
have
as well.
2 wing backs.
Exactly.
Yeah, start Masuaku as some corners of this fan base are calling for.
So I mean, with Crystal Palace, though, I see us getting a draw personally. I'm hoping for a win, but I would definitely settle for a draw.
I'd be okay with a draw.
Yeah. I was looking to see what tests they have before this because obviously Crystal Palace's match this weekend.
We have 12 days before our next match.
Right.
Which I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing.
Because the Liverpool match still hasn't been announced.
If we'd changed managers, it would be an excellent thing.
Yeah. And that was one point, too, that I brought up during the podcast, going back to this. The reason we shouldn't wait on replacing Pellegrini is if we were to replace him with another manager now, he would get in, see his team for a few matches, see where
almost 2 weeks to train,
see what needs improvement, and then come January, boom, he's got a month to dole out some cash and bring in some players.
That's what I thought when David Moyes was hired.
Well,
he came on during an international break.
They lied to him. They straight up lied because they knew they were bringing in Pellegrini, so they didn't want to spend the money in the January transfer window.
The lackey.
We believe it. I mean, I agree with you. We've never verified that though, have we?
No.
It's been more or less substantiated.
I do remember X saying that there was a pre-agreed deal with Pellegrini
it was basically
before Moyes was brought in.
He was basically like, I won't help you out of a relegation battle, but if you can stay up, then I'll come. That was
exactly.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, Moyes, we'll give you a contract if you stay up, but
that's the thing is like that's the sort of situation you would get in.
Yeah.
If that were the case now, but it's not.
Unless you brought in like the Ancelottis, the Pochettinos of the world, they're not going to be. They're not going to want to have a short-term managerial contract.
Right.
Moyes, Houghton, they'll fine with it because it's employment. But that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether or not before you mentioned Pochettino, did you say the enchiladas?
And like I said, I know we're not ever going to get him. It's just he's an option.
Pochettino?
Yeah.
You would want a Spurs manager?
See, that's one thing that I've always said. Like, if it's a player,
do you want Roberto back in goal over that ex-Millwall keeper?
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
it doesn't matter if he's an ex-Millwall because he grew up in the Clear and Blue Army.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of an.
Hey, you know what? If you talk about how Moyes came into the club for employment or might go anywhere else for employment, let's take a look at our 33-year-old wonder boy in goal right now. He played at Millwall for employment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm fine with anyone at this point. I mean, I've never had that kind of going back, I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not, if, say, Belichick were to be fired by the Patriots and wanted to come to Pittsburgh, I'm not going to say no to that.
No.
Right.
So I've never had an issue with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Patriots and the Steelers is not really the same situation as the Spurs and the.
Well, I mean, NFL. You can't really translate rivalries in the NFL to soccer.
I think it's fine.
I'm
with you.
It's not the same. I get what you're saying. I mean, it's hard to.
Managers are more fluid than.
It's definitely hard to argue with his level of success at Tottenham.
Better example than like John Harbaugh coming over to Pittsburgh from the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
John. I mean, I hate the Ravens.
What about if Pittsburgh wanted to hire Romeo Crennel?
Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who that is.
He was a coach for the Browns, like
later the Chiefs
5-6 years ago.
Okay,
I think he's still an assistant coach somewhere, but he was a head coach for the Browns. I was trying to think of a Browns coach.
Yeah, that's fair.
That might move.
That's Browns are probably a bad example, just because. Sorry,
because of
only team
Browns.
this decade without a winning season.
Oh, damn.
That's true, actually.
Oh yeah,
only team in the league.
Okay, I'll take that.
No,
I'll take that.
Points. Fair play.
So, what have you guys heard about David Martin being injured with his thigh?
50-50 with 50-50 him and Fabianski.
Yeah, we were talking about it. I keep relating it back to the podcast. I like the little plugs,
teasers.
That's fine.
But last we had heard that he was out for the match. Actually, that it was a partial muscle tear, and he was going to be out for the match. So.
Isn't that the same injury basically that Fab had?
Fabianski had a total muscle tear. That's why he was out for so long.
I knew it was a muscle tear.
Yeah,
so.
in the exact same position. We were talking about it with
he was holding like the same spot.
I think we talked about it at the pub on Saturday. I think we all thought that he was just time wasting. And the longer he stayed down, we're like, oh, no.
Well, right before he injured himself, he was
time wasting. Yeah, he was carded.
He got a yellow card.
Yeah, he was carded for it. So I thought it was just more time wasting. But, if Fabianski is 50-50, they don't know if they're going to pull him out yet just because they don't want to risk re-aggravating the injury. And my argument with it was if Fabianski isn't good enough, pull in Allaire or someone in goal because I cannot stand to see Roberto in goal again.
Can you imagine?
Or bring Anang?
It would be like Armageddon.
Yes,
there might be West Ham pitch invasions at Selhurst Park.
Yeah, no, we would literally set another team's stadium on fire.
Yeah, but there's also a goalkeeper. 19 years old for the under-23s, Anang. West Ham under-23s in the Premier League 2 Division 2 have not lost this. Yeah, they have not lost this season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They haven't had a loss?
They have not had a loss this season.
I didn't realize the PLT guys were doing that well.
Yeah. Oh, they're doing incredible. They have like a goal difference of like plus 34 or something.
Holy
like
shit.
They're running over every team. So, and he's had quite a few clean sheets if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So, I would almost look at bringing
What's
him
this guy's name?
Anang.
Anang?
Something like that.
A-N-O-N-G?
Something to that regard. I can't remember. They looked at either Zach or John found it, and we just talked about it.
So speaking of keepers going forward, okay, so it's 50-50 Martin, 50-50 Fabianski. All hell breaks loose if Roberto's in goal.
Yeah.
January comes.
Roberto's gone January 1st, I hope.
Okay.
I hope he's gone. I hope he's gone at 12:01 January 1st.
Okay, so
West Ham would talk on this, by the way.
Okay.
This exact thing?
Yes.
Okay.
What do they say? I'm fine.
I mean, it's the same. I mean, it's a lot of the same names we've heard. Jack Butland is very much in the conversation.
Right.
I last I heard Sunderland wanted 20 million for him.
There's no way 20 million for Jack.
I think that as you know, they're near the bottom of the championship now.
I thought they were League One.
Oh, Sunderland is League One. Stoke, where Butland is now,
right,
still in the championship.
I saw something,
but they said like they need to offload money like yesterday,
and he's on the table.
Yes,
right.
Like they need to get rid of any like Premier League quality player. So
what about getting Darren Randolph back?
That's still in the conversation too.
Darren,
but they said it's funny because I'll let those guys speak. But it was basically like he's aware of his position with the club, but would still want to come back.
Yeah,
his position. You mean as far as like being like number 2 or 3?
No, like how he was like when he played for the club.
Yeah,
which was not the best.
Yeah, I mean it was him and Adrian.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like pick your poison almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Adrian's playing in Champions League with Liverpool, which still amazes me.
Good for him.
Absolutely.
Totally good for him. He fell into the best situation possible.
I'm sure he's getting paid
he's doing a great job.
Penny.
Yeah. He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
So,
but I think the last time before like that podcast came out, the last time I had seen it, X was saying Randolph is actually the most expensive option.
That's what I've heard too.
Yeah, and then the other two that we were looking at are Butland and Begovic, because Begovic is technically on loan with Bournemouth, I believe. So, I'd be fine with. I think preferably, I think I'd go with Butland. I think Butland would be the best.
I'd buy that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his name is Buttland.
That's why I want to buy the kid.
You'd put 2 T's on it?
Yeah, just Sharpie it on.
Yeah, there you go.
Buttland with 2 T's. Okay, so we haven't really answered our goalkeeper question because we don't know.
No,
we don't know
it is completely up in the air.
Right.
But I think it has to be between Martin and Fabianski if one of them is healthy, because I think that there would be riots if Roberto's back in goal. It
would be an ugly, ugly scene.
If they're like,
there's a reason that he's been designated to the bench.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, you would even maybe have to consider doing a sub for a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You know, if you knew like they weren't at full strength, then like okay,
Oh,
you
I
guys
didn't
are
even think
going to
about
put in
it.
2 shifts.
What if you
Yeah.
did? What if you did that? Like actually, making
you know,
sure that one of you,
Tactically, it doesn't make too much sense because you want to reserve that, like if for a defensive player or attacker or an injury.
And there are certain players which obviously are totally key for us, which really have a hard time getting through the full 90. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
at the same time, we don't really have a lot of impact subs.
that's true.
Depths, yes.
That's true.
But really quickly, I keep going back to previous topics with David Martin though and Roberto. What the hell was Pellegrini thinking, waiting so long to put David Martin in? We possibly could have won a few more matches if David Martin had been in goal.
Everything I've read has like chalks it up to him just being stubborn about it. Like
And
he
you
knew
shouldn't
he
be
should.
like that.
He was probably going to. He just didn't
and
want to
that's
be
how you
told
kill a
when it was
season.
gonna,
That's
right.
how you kill a season.
And
had he been put in like after 3, but like 1 or 2, even 3 bad.
I mean, it was
matches,
pretty
we might
apparent
have
right
2 or
off
3
the
more
bat.
wins at least.
Sure.
Like we might be in the top 10 if had he made the decision to switch to Martin.
Right. I was reading that in Clarion Hughes.
Yeah,
Almost the exact same thing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, at the same time, gave up 2 goals to Wolves, gave up 3 goals to Arsenal.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Ugly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's still a weak bet. I mean, you know, the popular refrain is Fabianski was just papering over the cracks. And
yeah, that's
true.
very possible. That's
Very
possible.
absolutely true. And you know, I guess I have a hard time believing like maybe we could have gotten another draw. But there's still fundamental issues with this squad.
But
yeah,
I think I heard someone saying too that it might have been the defensive, like the back line's confidence in the goalkeeper.
Mhm.
Like they
True.
weren't confident in him,
Yeah,
so
and
they
that
were,
has been a
and it
change.
drew them out of position because they were trying to overextend.
You're talking about with Roberto in there.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I've also heard that there was communication because, and that's one of the reasons why Balbuena was getting the start.
Because he could translate.
Because he speaks Spanish, and because it's obviously super important for them for the
be able to
the
communicate,
keeper to
yeah.
be able to set up the defense. And the whole team's coming at you, yelling out positions
Exactly,
where
yeah.
people are going to be, hey, get this, get this, get this. And I've heard that there was communication issue. That's obviously something we're never going to be able to see on television, except until it looks like somebody's just so fucking out of the position that you think that they suck. Well, sometimes they need to be told. Not everybody's got eyes in the back of their head, and to a large degree, you got to ask the keeper to be those eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
So
yeah, and
one thing we didn't put up on our list, and I know we're starting to run a little bit long here, but I do want to ask you guys, what do you think about Felipe Anderson? So the reason I'm asking you about this is because even when I was on a Friday Night Lights with Ian Bishop, we were talking about. I mean, obviously, we don't have time to go through every single player. I mean, I think Fornal's been coming on really, really well.
Yes, very much so.
He's definitely coming into his own.
He's finally getting used to the pace.
And although it's obvious that Anderson is not having the year that he did last year, when he is taken off, it's clear to me that he doesn't want to come off. You know what I mean? It's not like he's just like out there collecting a paycheck. Now, if he's being ineffective, if he gets tired, I don't really see him getting tired like a 30-year-old something.
Snodgrass
right.
or Noble.
And and Snodgrass would never let you know if he's tired.
No.
You know what I mean? And then Antonio will go until like his leg gives out, and then he just lays down,
just falls off.
Right. And these guys are not going to let you know, but you can see that Anderson is pissed when he is being subbed off. He has awesome offensive movement skills, which I think he's only got like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 assists on the year. He doesn't really I think he's only got 1 goal on the year. And
I don't think he has any goals this season.
I thought he had 1 goal. I could be wrong. Chris is quick with that phone.
Yes,
he can get
yes,
that. He can get those stats up. And in any case, so the company line here is that he fell ill before Southampton.
Injured, I thought.
Yeah,
injured in training.
There was not a consistent messaging on that.
And the fact that they played this different formation, they would have a difficult time sticking with that formation if Anderson was in the lineup because you don't want to get Fornals out of there because he's like really kind of coming into his own, and he really couldn't play in Snodgrass's position because he's used to being on the right-hand side. Is that what you guys are
So, and also really quickly, Felipe Anderson, 17 matches this season, 0 goals,
Okay.
4 assists.
4 assists. I knew he had
3 in the Premier League, 1 in the FL Cup.
Gotcha. Okay, so no goals for Felipe.
So with
Ineffective,
I think with
but his fault. I'm wondering what you guys think.
I think the biggest issue with him is whether he's on the wing or whether he's in the middle. We've never really seen him out on the right, but he never has too many people in front of him. So he's trying to do it all himself, and he's running into a brick wall. So I think if there's more, like, Allaire this season has been, after the first few matches and until this last match, he hasn't been getting up as much. He hasn't been fighting. Mm-hmm. So Felipe Anderson almost has no one in front of him, so he has to run or wait, in which point he's either running into the defense, like 3-man defense all by himself, or he's getting closed down and he has to pass it off.
Right.
So I don't think that it's entirely his fault, so I don't agree with a lot of...
So you don't think he's getting help? You don't think he's getting the backup that he needs?
But at the same time, too, I just struggle sometimes to think that he fully focuses on the game, because off the field at least, or like on the field...
Do you think he's worried about his Instagram? Or?
Yes. I really do. Like, you look at it...
Come on.
You look at his stuff, like, he's constant, like, he's trying to be the pretty boy stuff kind of thing.
Well, I mean, he's a pretty boy.
Yeah. So but everyone else you see posting, like, photos of themselves on the training ground doing work or matches, and he's posting photos of him at dinner with like drinks.
You're questioning his heart
a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not fully, because I can understand some of that, because I mean he is, I don't know how old he is. He's not that old.
I think he's like 26. I thought.
26 years old. So I mean he's still living like that kind of, like, he's still young. He's trying to
he's still rolling.
Experience
he's still
London.
rolling like baller style.
Yeah,
yeah. He's in London. He's having.
Yeah.
He's having.
So
a time,
I don't fully.
making big money.
I don't attribute it to that, but I think it doesn't send a good message.
Sure.
I think that's what I'm saying.
I got it. Okay.
Like it. I think that is also why a lot of people give him the crap that they do, because they see that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And they question his heart.
And that's valid. That's valid. What do you think, Mark?
Oh, I mean, I frequently confuse him with Manuel Lanzini.
Where has he been? Holy!
Oh,
he's hurt again.
Hurt again.
Yeah. He was linked with Juve. Now he's going to be lucky to be linked with the Romanian side.
And
Lanzini?
You could give every like tired thing of like, oh, these guys are overpaid. Oh, we shelled out like $40 million for. And you're like, I don't care much. I mean, I'm not even on Instagram, so I don't even know what you're referring to. I could picture it.
I'll pull it up for you after.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just like,
yes, we know you're not on Instagram, Mark. I can never tag you in the photos.
Good. Well, keep me off that.
But I always tag you on the twats. On the twats. But in any case,
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, he's got lots of.
Look at that turtleneck.
Okay, so that's like a lot. That's That's a lot of his feed, you know. Well, wait a minute. Now Chris just scrolled right past a picture of him on the ground. Look at that.
Just him happy, and then the next one is with him with Carlos Sanchez, who doesn't even look like Carlos Sanchez in that photo.
What? Let me see that picture. What? That is not.
It's tagged as Carlos Sanchez.
Oh my God, it is. How did he fit that gigantic afro
got
of hair in
from
that
time
hat?
to time he
Look,
gets
the
the
hat
dreads.
is like got everything.
Oh yeah, well.
Oh, it's got it all. He's got the dreads in. Okay, I was just like, where's his hair?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, because
normally he's like got the mod squad going.
He's changed his hair. Oh no, because he had the afro.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's big.
But he had
soft.
cornrows before that. He was doing his Andy Carroll tribute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now when he's rolling with the full puffy style, he kind of reminds me of old Columbus Crew player Steven Lenhart. We used to love Steven, love it.
Not so much Carlos.
The softest header in the MLS.
Yeah.
Not so much Carlos.
Oh.
No, absolutely right.
You can attest to this. When he slipped and fell when Southampton was and on goal, I was just kind of laughing to myself like that is just him.
Oh yeah, when he just fell. But I mean,
I was like, he tripped over the ball.
It's also clear that in his time not having been on the field, the cat has been working out. He was kind of like a normal sized person, and now he's like this Hulk. You know what I mean? So he was.
If
hurt.
only he can attribute it, like he can match his skills.
He was
with
hurt
his strength.
most of it. Was
He's like an
last
Antonio
year?
action figure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like no life to it.
Exactly.
Right.
He's like the Antonio blow up doll.
And the knees can bend backwards. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to say this has been pretty fun.
Yeah,
this is definitely some of the most lively discussion. Thank you, Mark, for fixing that. And
I was going to say we went so long the screen's turned off.
It has. I've got it on like it almost never dies. But like, look, like my mouse isn't working at all. Okay, everybody's like really enthusiastic about all the bullshit technical problems I'm having.
Production, yes.
So, like Mark said, this is probably going to be the last show here at the table until I get back from my trip abroad, and that won't be till January 4th. But I'm going to remote in. We're going to figure that out.
You talk to me.
And thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck with Fortune's Always Hiding.
Yes.
We're going to listen.
We'll be listening.
Thank you.
And you said that if you're home from school, you'll come back on?
Oh, absolutely.
All right,
even if you can figure out a way to do it remote, I'm always down for.
Well, I do have the StreamYards, which is how we're going to have to figure it out. So
if you figure it out, just let me know. I'm down for anything.
Sounds great. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much, and let's hope for a Boxing Day miracle, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Nothing else.
All right, we love it. We are the Columbus E13.
Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.